Start cleaning those tires up. During this time, remember they fan out down there, so protect that bottom. Sunday drive. All right, boss man. Face car's off. Be ready. Bud, be ready. Gas that bitch up. Ready. Green flag. Green.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition or episode of the Inside Pass. I'm Tom Baker, coming to you live from the WSIC studio in Statesville, North Carolina. Randy Miller, who usually hosts this show, has today off, and look forward to having Randy back in the studio next week. But we've got a fun show. Jesse Little actually going to join us in a little bit via our hotline. Jesse, of course, driving currently for JD Motorsports in the NASCAR X-finity series, but he's done quite a lot with the Truck Series and a couple of starts in Cup and some other things as well. Second generation racer. Just a young man who's very humble and a lot of fun to talk with and to hang with and to go racing with. So Jesse's going to be joining us here as we come up on championship weekend next week. Hard to believe that it is championship weekend, but it is. But we're not going to Homestead this time. We're going to Phoenix for championship weekend. So we're going to look back, obviously, at this past weekend's races. We're going to tell you who made the Final Four and all of that. So you can feel free to give us a call if you'd like on our studio line, 704-873 1400, 704-873-1400 if you'd like to talk racing with us. I think we may have Jesse Little on the line, so we'll go to the hotline. Is this you, Jesse Little?
Yes, sir. How's it going, Tom?
Hey, it's going great, Jesse. It's great to talk with you again. Always fun. Been way too long since we've chatted with you on one of our Race Chaser shows, so happy to have you on the Inside Pass today. Tell us, from your perspective, obviously it's been a really crazy 2020. How has your season gone with JD Motorsports?
Yeah, I think like everyone, it was a unique challenge at the beginning of the summer to, kind of be thrust into that kind of schedule of number of races, and the quick time we did it. It was a lot of quick adapting and learning as you go. A lot of the tracks, I saw for the first time were under pace laps right before the green flag. So it definitely was a different kind of circumstances this year. But all in all, we, I felt like we as a team did a really good job of adapting to it. And not only myself, but the entire Xfinity field. And I think everyone would agree, trucks, Xfinity, everyone's handled it really well and still put on good races for the fans. It kind of shows us that at the end of the day, we're all at this level because we deserve to be, and we can put on good shows for everyone. So I've been happy with how our year has gone on. We've had good runs, we've had bad runs, and I think the most important thing is I've learned a lot and grown a lot as a driver, both on and off the track. So it's fun. It's been fun to get to this point in the year, and having one left is a different. It's an interesting kind of feeling. You're a little excited to be able to wind down and focus on some of the other things, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, hey, I feel like I could do another 33 races. So it's fun and looking forward to closing out this weekend strong. But to answer your question real quick, I just think it's been a good year for me. Learned everything I wanted to and had a lot of takeaways.
Well, I'm a huge fan of JD Motorsports, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for Johnny Davis and the group that he's put together there. They can get more out of a dollar than anyone else I've seen in the sport, honestly. And I'm curious, how did it come together for you to go racing with JD to begin with?
Yeah, so about this time last year, September, October, I kind of made the decision, my uncle and I made the decision that we wanted to sell the truck team and kind of close that chapter of our racing story, and about that time, I wanted to do something pretty serious in the sense of pursuing, racing at the next level. And for me, that was, the X-finity series. And so I began talking, and Johnny was one of the first ones on my list as far as, being the most bang for my buck and being able to, to get, like you said, to get the most out of the equipment. I had a lot of respect for him as well. And there wasn't a lot of paths for me to take that, that would have given me the same opportunity, if that makes sense.
Sure.
I couldn't have gone to an RCR or, a Gibbs and been able to afford the big sponsored rides that they have. And so Johnny was high on my list. And after talking, I quickly realized that that's where I wanted to be, and we were able to make it happen. So I've been nothing but very appreciative of his support and everything I've learned from him this year. It's he's a very, very smart guy and a very honest man, and kind of has taught me a lot of how to handle myself as I continue with my career.
Can you kind of give us a few specifics? Obviously, not some that are trade secrets, but can you give us an idea of some of the things that you have learned from Johnny and that this year has taught you? I think fans would be interested to kind of get a glimpse inside of, your maturation process and just the way that you've been picking up knowledge in what has been obviously a very unusual year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. With him, probably the biggest takeaways I have, he's helped me quite a bit with being a team leader and being someone that, in the racing environment, you're the lead as a driver. You're the leader, and so he's helped me kind of realize in certain situations, how to talk to people and how to get the most out of people. He's helped me learn that, in certain events, whether it's, you get wrecked or so you get a penalty and something doesn't go your way. It's the most important part is how you react to those events, and rather than, what just happened. So, I had an incident with Joe Graff Jr. out on the track at Kansas, and he was very quick to, remind me to see the big picture, and handling it appropriately would pay dividends in the future. And so little things like that I'll certainly be able to take away with me for a long time.
Yeah, he's been around for obviously quite a while, and I think probably one of the longest running, if not the longest running, continuous owner in the Xfinity garage. And I'm sure that being able to not only spend time with him, but also you've got a whole host of other drivers there that you can be resources for you as well. How much do you guys as a group spend time together and share information and try to help each other?
Yeah, we spend a lot of time, I think, especially with COVID and everything that's happened to the schedule. We spend a lot of time talking about the upcoming weeks, and, it was crucial there at a lot of the races that I hadn't been to. So I leaned heavily on my teammates and the crew chiefs at the shop, and it's nice that, it's nice to be a part of a 4-team organization where there's so much information flowing and coming in, that you have a lot of different, different outlooks and opinions on things and different ways of seeing, how to approach a racetrack or how to approach a situation. So it's been nice to be able to work with all of them and talk with all of them and lean, be able to lean a lot on my teammates like Jeffrey and BJ, who have hundreds of more laps at these tracks than I do. So it's been helpful just as much to me as I'm sure it has to been.
It's interesting for me, just kind of from the outside looking in, the group that you have, because you've got, as you said, you've got drivers, who have had hundreds of laps of experience, and yet there's also drivers like yourself who are really experienced in trucks, for example, but not necessarily in Xfinity. And then you got some new guys like Colby Howard coming in this year, and and Ryan Vargas. And And yet I feel like in a lot of ways, I don't know all of you, but I know enough of you. And I feel like there's a lot of synergy, even in the work ethic and the personality among you, that it must really be an interesting and fun situation as well to be able to interact with those guys.
Yeah, we all bring something different to the table, and I think it makes it a very fun and healthy dynamic. We're all obviously competitive and are at different points in our career, and so it's, you mesh those all together, and like you said, it creates a good synergy with us, and forces us to kind of bring our A game internally, and be able to bring the most to the table that we can as drivers, because we're all trying to get the equipment better and
Sure.
and get the most out of it, and elevating our performances is just as important as drivers as it is to elevating the car's performance. So it's a lot of fun, and I think we all feed well off each other and are able to bounce off, especially at tracks where we can work together like the speedways. So it's been fun in that aspect this year, and I look forward to doing it one more weekend this weekend at Phoenix.
What has been the biggest adjustment for you this year? And I want to make this a two-part question. Biggest adjustment to the X-finity cars and the situation there, but also what's been the biggest adjustment or the most difficult part of kind of dealing with the whole COVID piece of it?
Yeah, those are good questions. The first one for me, I kind of realized quickly on, and that was just dealing with the dynamic of the team. My entire career leading up to this year, I had ran the truck team and been a part of it, and worked in the shop every day, and gone to the racetrack and hired guys and fired guys and worked with crew chiefs, and so I was a part of, I was so a part of that, and essentially in charge to a point, and coming into here, I realized quickly that, I was pretty much just the driver, and I had to find that to do my job best, I had to rely on all those people outside of the race car. And, I learned that, I think that was the quickest adjustment for me, was learning that, I now needed to focus on just driving the race cars and delivering them my best product every weekend, rather than having to worry about all the intangibles that I was at our truck team. So that was the biggest adjustment for me pre and post COVID. And then the big thing, I think, during the pandemic and once we got back racing, was just the approach on race days. Prior to the pandemic, we'd have practice, we'd have qualifying, and get to spend quite a few laps, even at places I hadn't been to. And so now at places, post-COVID, going to the racetracks where I had no laps at, it was crucial that I did my homework prior. During that week, I watched film, I got on onboards, I spent plenty of time on iRacing, and you could almost make the argument there's no such thing as overworking or studying too much. And so it was just a matter of going to the racetracks that I knew were going to be challenging for me. I had to put in a lot of time before.
Makes perfect sense. We're going to ask you to hang on for just a moment. We're going to put you back into the wonderful land of hold. While we take a break, we'll be back with more of Jesse Little and more of the Inside Pass right after this on WSIC.
Hello, race fans. This is Chris Wright. Thanks for listening to these guys. Man, what some great radio hosts. You're listening to the Inside Pass.
Welcome back to the Inside Pass. Tom Baker here. Randy Miller not here today, so you have half of the dynamic duo for today's show. Randy will be back next week, and we've got Jesse Little with us. Jesse, of course, driving for JD Motorsports this year in NASCAR's X-finity series and getting ready to go to Phoenix. And Jesse, I know that this has been a really bizarre season. It sort of started, then stopped for a while, and then has been just insanity for the last number of months here. And now it comes down to one more race at Phoenix. First of all, what are you doing this week to prepare for Phoenix, and talk a little bit about what you're expecting out of this coming weekend's race?
Yeah, for Phoenix, it's it's a racetrack I've put in the category of one that I've had laps at. I was lucky enough to even race there pre-COVID, so I believe it was our third race of the year, or fourth race of the year. So I've even been there in an Xfinity car, so that's nice. I have notes to rely on. Kind of what my weekly routine has been is when it comes to focusing on the race coming up, I'll spend time. I'll watch the races prior. So I'll watch the Xfinity race from back in March there. I'll go meet with the guys at the shop and discuss our post notes from the week. So I'll make sure that we're improving our setup, and we're lucky that we had notes from that race as far as what to improve and make better. So we'll discuss that, and then I'll probably get familiar on iRacing with the track once again before I leave, and not having practice. It's important to be aggressive early and fire off as quick as we can. So I think in any other time other than COVID, it'd be different as far as the last race of the year. Having friends and family there and partners and sponsors, but for us it'll kind of be a little unfortunate we can't have everyone there, but we'll still enjoy ourselves and go try to finish on as high of a note as we can.
Yeah, it's definitely it feels like we just got back started again, and all of a sudden it's about to be over. So I feel like this sort of second part of the season has gone by in a flurry. You've had a couple of top 10 runs this year, top 10 finishes at Pocono and Daytona as well. It's obviously a much different situation going to a track like Phoenix than it would be if we were going to Homestead at the end of the year. And I feel like with this being the championship race, does it change the way you drive the race because it is the championship race and there's 4 drivers focused on obviously going and winning a championship? Does that have any effect at all on how you do what you do, or is it basically just I'm racing myself, the racetrack, and those closest to me in points?
Yeah, you're certainly how I look at it is I'm out there just to win like everyone else, and
right.
And someone's got to win it, so you never know the situation. But at the same time, I want guys to respect me, and being a rookie, it's important that I earn their trust, because I hope to be racing with a lot of these guys for a long time to come. So I'm going to respect the championship forward and make sure that I give them the courtesy when I am around them. I won't put a hinder at our performance because of that, but I'll be aware for sure.
Yeah, it's got to be crazy out there in a situation. Even this last round, really, just coming off Martinsville, a short track, and now going to Phoenix, which is really, I feel like it's just a bigger short track, right? I mean, it's it's still a very different track, and drivers using all of the racetrack, going down, way down on the apron, coming back up. The kind of slide job mentality plays into that as well. So I'm sure it's got to be crazy for you. Now, I think most people realize that you're second generation and realize, Chad is your dad. How much is he still able to help or mentor or guide you in your current career? Because I know it's obviously been a good while since he's been out of the seat. Is he still able to kind of be engaged, to be a part of that, or how much of a part is he currently in what you're doing?
Yeah, certainly. I love answering that question because it's important. People know he's very much involved with my career, and what I like to tell people is, it hasn't been. He hasn't been involved as far as the on-track stuff in a long, long time. When I started off racing, it was a lot of discussions with him about, the actual driving aspect. But for a while, he's given me room and letting me, kind of learn and experience that on my own, because he's aware of the fact that the cars have changed so much since he drove, and the racing itself has changed so much. So he gives me the freedom there, but he's the biggest help on everything outside the racetrack. How to carry myself, how to build my brand, how to navigate the network of the garage and sponsors and partners and business managers, and kind of really all of his knowledge he gained outside of the seat. I've been lucky enough to reap those benefits.
I'm sure. Yeah. And I've never had the pleasure of meeting him, but everyone that I've talked to that knows him just talks about him being a great guy. And he and your mom raised you well. You're very professional, and we always have enjoyed having conversation with you. I know that, we're coming to the last race, but not too early to think about next year. Do you have your plans set for next year, or do you know what you're going to be doing in 2021?
Well, nothing's signed yet, but I certainly look forward to hopefully returning to the X-finity series full time. That's my goal, and I'm hopeful of that right now, and I think it's looking pretty optimistic. So we'll continue to be aggressive and try to make that happen as quick as we can. That's my goal as of now, but at the same time, hey, anything can happen, and the door's always open to doing something else in a different series if the better opportunity presents itself. So I'm more so looking forward to just trying to finish this weekend strong, and then doing what I think will benefit me the most to gain experience and knowledge and position myself to hopefully be in a good spot in 2 or 3 more years.
Other than obviously Cup, which I know is your goal, is there a different type of racing that kind of would be a bucket list thing for you that you'd like to try or do if you could? Are there other forms of racing that would interest you if you had the chance to do them? Not necessarily full time, but on a part time or a one off kind of thing. What's on your bucket list?
Yeah, I've always had a tremendous amount of interest in the dirt racing world, specifically dirt late models. I think I've only ever been behind the wheel of one during a test, and I fell in love with it. And I love kind of the mentality and the actual personality of dirt racing in itself, as far as running Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and traveling to different tracks, and kind of the hardcore outlaw side of things. I think that's always kind of interests me, and something that maybe one day I could I'd love to hang my hat on running a couple races. I think that those guys are some of the best in the world, and as far as car control and ability to adapt quickly to situations. So it certainly would be fun to check off. I would say that's probably on the top of my list. I'm not good enough to do any open wheel road course racing or something like that, so my options are limited.
Well, that would be fun to see you in a dirt car. If there are any dirt teams listening out there that have a spare car, let us know, and we'll get you hooked up with Jesse. Maybe we can get you on board for a race or two in the future with that. Well, before we get to a little bit of rapid fire here, which is always fun for us to do, I want to give you a chance to acknowledge anyone and everyone who helps you make your racing happen.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's the most important list of my supporters and partners, and I've been blessed to have some really great people that have stuck with me throughout the years, and also some ones that have come on board this year that I'm looking forward to continuing our relationship with. Chad and Lisa Complin at Skytide, they've been with me for a couple of years. They were on board for the Speedway races, so that was really cool to have them this year. Mike and Nikki Case with Tough Call Flooring, they've been huge help and supporters of mine, and then a lot of our associate partners that I'm looking forward to continuing with in the future with Shriners Hospitals for Children. We were able to do a great fundraiser with them this year and
awesome.
raise a lot of money for a good cause. So that was nice. And visit Kingsport, a town that is near and dear to my heart and close to the Bristol area. So it's always fun to go to that race. But all of those partners have allowed me to get to this point and do what I love to do every day. So we wouldn't be here without them.
Okay, so with that being said, let's do a little rapid fire here and get to know you a little bit better. Again, what we want here is the first thing that comes to your mind, okay, when we throw these questions out. First question is, what is the best piece of advice that you've ever been given?
Best piece of advice I've ever been given. I'd probably say it came from my mom, and it was, if you're going to be stupid, you got to be tough.
I like that. I like the phrasing of that.
Yeah.
Okay, if you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
Hey, that's a good one. One thing about myself, what would it be? Probably wish I was taller. That's an easy one.
Me too. If there was a sandwich named after you, what would be on it?
Oh, that's a good one. I'm a classic guy. It's a BLT all the way, bacon, lettuce, tomato.
There you go. I like the bacon and the lettuce part. Not crazy about tomatoes, though. Okay, next one. If you had to delete all but 3 apps for your smartphone, if you had to delete all but 3 apps from your smartphone, which ones would you keep?
For sure, Twitter. Definitely. For sure, Twitter. Definitely, Instagram, and I'm trying to think of a third one that isn't a social media. Probably YouTube. I got to have those 3. I'm a millennial, so.
Well, exactly. I hear you. Okay, if you could be guaranteed one thing in life besides money, what would it be?
Time. Always time.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, we could all use a little more time. In the last one, what is your guilty pleasure? And remember, this is a family show.
Yeah. Let's see. Probably ice cream. I'm a sucker for ice cream.
What flavor?
Mainly chocolate.
There you go.
Mainly chocolate.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
Chocolate all the way on that one. Okay, Jesse, it has been fun to have you on the Inside Pass this week, and look forward, hopefully, to getting you into the studio here in Statesville at WSIC to do a show sometime in the off season and have a little more fun with our larger gang here.
Absolutely, absolutely. I appreciate the time, Tom, and as always, look forward to talking with you again.
Jesse Little, JD Motorsports is the team he races for, and you'll see him on the track at Phoenix this coming, today, actually, as this show airs. We'll be back with more of the Inside Pass here on WSIC right after this.
I'm Chase Elliott, and you're listening to the Inside Pass.
Welcome back to the Inside Pass. Of course, if you're watching us live on our live stream, it is Monday. However, if you are listening to us on the WSIC family of radio stations here in the Charlotte Lake Norman area or on WSICFM.com around the world, then it is Saturday. We actually record these shows early in the week for the weekend. And so if you hear me refer to something as being today, like I did the X-finity race, don't get confused. There's not a Monday Xfinity race. It's actually happening on Saturday as the show airs in its proper time slot at 9 a.m. Eastern, right before Lenny Baticki and PRN's at the track. It is the 90-minute horsepower hour here on WSIC every Saturday, beginning with this show at 9 a.m., and we hope that you enjoy it. It's been good to talk to Jesse Little, but Jesse had some other things to take care of here this afternoon, so we wanted to let him get on to all of that, and we're going to talk about Championship 4, because we have 3 divisions worth here, and Martinsville, in my opinion, I'd love to hear yours if you do want to call the studio, 704-873-1400, but only for those listening to the live stream. If it's Saturday, don't call us because the show won't be live. But 704-873-1400, if any of you watching the live stream would like to call us and talk to us about your thoughts about Martinsville. But I think it's the perfect cutoff race. I think it proved itself the entire weekend long, starting with the trucks. Grant Emfinger picking up the win and becomes part of the Championship 4 for the trucks. And again, what a race. I mean, you Enfinger, Rhodes, Smith, Eckes, and Crafton at the end, your top 5, and some great runs behind them. Stuart Friesen, a nice run for P6. Danny Bone doing a tremendous job with On Point Motorsports for a 7th place finish. Sheldon Creed, Austin Wayne Self, 2 straight top 10s for that young man. In the 22 truck finishes 9th, and Derek Kraus rounding out the top 10. And again, if you look at the Championship 4 in the truck series, you've got an interesting mix as far as I'm concerned for these guys to go at it with. And I have said all along on all of our Race Chaser shows, don't fall asleep on Zane Smith. Don't underestimate the rookie. Well, the rookie did a great job at Martinsville, a track he'd never seen before he showed up there for this race on Friday night, and ended up picking up a nice run, nice top 5 finish, puts him into the Final 4. And at this point, honestly, it's just winner take all. So the question becomes, can Zane Smith go to Phoenix and beat Sheldon Creed, Grant Emfinger, and Brett Moffitt? Now, in that group of 3 drivers, Enfinger's he's been a veteran for a while. Brett Moffitt has won a championship. He's been a veteran driver, Cup Rookie of the Year. And Sheldon Creed in year 2 in the truck has made tremendous improvements, smoothed his driving style out a lot. This is going to be a tough road to hoe for Zane Smith, but his track record at Phoenix in other divisions is spectacular, and he loves that track. So I'm going to say that, of course, again, by the time this show airs, we'll already know who's going to win the championship. But I'm going to tell you that Zane Smith has as good a shot as anybody in the truck series to pick up a championship in his rookie year. He has announced he will come back for a second year with GMS. And, again, there's an outfit. You've got 4 drivers in the Final 4, and 3 of them are GMS racing drivers. So it goes to show you what a powerful truck organization that is. And really, Tyler Ankrum, I feel like, who is also coming back next year, Tyler could just as easily have been in. It was like that team just took a little too long to start to gel. And I feel like Tyler's going to be a definite championship contender next year with GMS. He just needed a year to kind of get things put together with his new crew chief, and it took a little longer than what they might have expected, but still a good year for him. Just looking at the standings, your final four, again, Sheldon Creed, Grant Emfinger, Brett Moffitt, and Zane Smith. And then behind him, you look at the rest of the top 10, and you've got Matt Crafton, a veteran who just missed. Remember, last year, he didn't win a single race until the championship race. He got in on points and was able to be good enough to just keep pointing his way through, got to the championship race at Homestead and won it, and picked up the title. Matt just missing this year. That's how razor thin the line is. When we get down to the final four, Austin Hill, Christian Eckes, who I feel like, again, if he's back at Kyle Busch Motorsports next year, that's going to be a young man to watch for in this series. Ben Rhodes finishing, or currently sitting, I should say, in 8th in points. Tyler Ankrum, there he is in 9th. And here's another driver, Todd Gilliland. Now, I don't think we know for sure what his plans are for next year, but if he comes back for another year in the same truck with Front Row, I think Todd Gilliland, again, bona fide championship contender, rounding out the 10 spot, and he had a shot at it. Of course, he and Ben Rhodes getting together last week, and that was a situation where I feel like had that not happened, Gilliland may have been in a position to end up advancing. But so you've got Creed, Emfinger, Moffitt, and Smith all going for the title at Phoenix this weekend in the Truck Series, and that should be really something to watch, because I am sure that nobody is going to spare themselves even a little bit of aggression this coming weekend. And don't forget, the other trucks are still racing too, and they want to win just as bad as the final four for the championship. So you're going to have really a race within a race, and I think I almost feel like whoever is going to win the championship is probably going to have to be in the top two in the race in order to do it. We move to the Xfinity Series. Harrison Burton breaking his father's record, now the youngest driver to ever win a race at Martinsville. Harrison with his second win in a row, and he is cooking right now going into Phoenix. He's not in contention for the championship, but again, not going to stop him from chasing a win. Justin Allgaier, Noah Gragson, Jeb Burton with a nice run, and Ross Chastain rounding out the top 5. And then behind them, you had Riley Herbst, Chase Briscoe, Michael Annett, Brandon Jones, and Austin Cindric. Now, nobody's saying a lot about Riley Herbst's plans for 2021. Just keep your eye on that situation. Could be interesting. Looking at the final four for the Xfinity Series again, I mean, I think we kind of had a sense a few weeks ago of who three of them were going to be. It was just a question of who was going to take the 4 seed. You knew, obviously, Chase Briscoe was going to be in. Austin Cindric was going to be in. Justin Haley, surprising a lot of people, not me. Again, much like with Zane Smith in the Truck Series, I keep telling people, don't fall asleep on Justin Haley. He's in. He's the 3 seed right now. Justin Allgaier gets in at the 2nd seed. Of course, that matters little. It's everybody starts at 0, and it's highest finisher of the 4 take all. So when you look at the Xfinity Series, again, I think you could throw a blanket over these guys. People underestimate Justin Haley, which he loves that. He's nicknamed himself Dark Horse. And, I think he functions very well in that sort of environment where, everybody pays attention to everybody else but him. And then all of a sudden you get to the end of a race and there's Justin Haley in the top 5, or he's winning or running for a win. And I really feel like this is going to be, at this point, you get to Phoenix, and I think what Justin has to do is do exactly what he's been doing the entire playoff run, And that is just keep doing his thing and not pay attention so much to the size of the stage. He's probably, arguably, the biggest underdog in this. He's got 3 stage wins on the year compared to Briscoe and Allgaier with 12 and Cindric with 10. So I feel like Justin Haley's probably the biggest underdog, but that also may make him the most dangerous here. Because, again, nobody's going to be paying a whole lot of attention to him. Everybody's going to be focused on Briscoe and Cindric, and even Allgaier, who runs very well at Phoenix. I feel like this could come down to a top 4. And yet, you're going to have guys behind him, Noah Gragson, Ross Chastain, who are, Gragson has done everything but win for the last few weeks. And Noah's going to want to get out of this year on a high note. And, of course, so is Ross Chastain, because Gregson's got 2 wins so far this year. Chastain's still a goose egg. So I feel like Ross is, again, they're running for wins too. And Ross is on his way to Cup in 2021 with Chip Ganassi. That's not going to stop him from wanting to get out of Phoenix with a win for Colleague Racing. And also keep your eye on what may happen. You know, we had some controversy in yesterday's Cup race with Denny Hamlin and Eric Jones, teammates for JGR, and whether or not JGR told Eric not to pass his teammate. Of course, Denny trying to advance to the Final Four, which he did. We'll talk about Cup in the next segment. But I feel like this could be an interesting scenario as well with Ross Chastain and Justin Haley. Ross has not always been the best teammate. So if it got into a position of, for example, the 2 of them being first and second, you know, how does that work out if Justin's leading and Ross is second and he has a chance to make the pass on the last lap? Or if somehow, Ross needs to be a teammate, so to speak. I mean, everybody can complain about blocking or protecting a teammate all they want, but when you've got a multi-car team, it's going to happen. There's just no way of NASCAR truly legislating that. I saw this morning that they are going to review the situation between Jones and Hamlin. Again, we'll get to that next segment, but I don't know what you do about it. I don't know how you prove that Eric Jones purposefully did not pass Denny. He looked to me like he was racing him awful hard, at least until the last 10 laps or so. And then, I don't know, to me, it just looked like Eric kind of fell off a little bit. But who knows? I mean, you get into all of that, and I don't know how you, as a sanctioning body, I don't know how you legislate team orders kind of thing. But we're going to take a break. Briscoe, Allgaier, Haley, and Cindric going at it for the Xfinity Championship. We'll be back to talk about what's going to happen with Sunday's final Cup race and who the championship contenders are in that when Inside Pass continues on WSIC.
This is Justin Lofton, and you're listening to the best guys on the radio, the Inside Pass.
Welcome back to the Inside Pass here on WSIC's family of radio stations and WSICFM.com. And of course, if you miss any part of this show or any of our Race Chaser radio shows, you can listen to them on demand anytime, day or night. Whatever is good for you, just go to your favorite podcast platform, whether it's Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, TuneIn, wherever it may be. And it's 3 words, Race Chaser Radio. And give us a follow. That way you'll always know when new shows go up. And we make these shows available. The Inside Pass show is available the next day after it airs. So feel free to go to Race Chaser Radio on your favorite Spotify platform or favorite platform, whether it might be Spotify or wherever. But wherever you get your music and podcasts from, just search Race Chaser Radio, and we should be there. And we would look forward to having you as a part of our Race Chaser family. We do 5 shows each week. A couple of the podcasts we've gone to every couple of weeks here, just temporarily. But this show, and of course Motorsports Madness, which is our syndicated show on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern, airs live on Performance Motorsports Network and Race Chaser Radio. And the Lead Lap show, which airs Monday nights live at 7 Eastern on Performance Motorsports Network and Race Chaser Radio. All of those shows continue weekly as always. And we're going to talk Cup here because, of course, this is championship weekend. First time in years that we have not been in Homestead, Miami for the championship weekend. We're in Phoenix this year, and it makes it a whole different ball game. Used to be that Homestead was always kind of a neutral track because you only went there once a year. Phoenix, now a track that almost everybody, I would think everybody in the Championship 4 in all 3 divisions at this point is pretty familiar with, even if not in their current division that they race in. So this is going to be a very different looking championship weekend, and yet I feel like even more intense. Smaller racetrack, one of those tracks where you can make some crazy moves. The restarts, insanity. You're going to see probably 4 and 5 wide. It should be a lot of fun. The Cup Series, of course, coming off of Martinsville on Sunday, a lot to unpack here. So we'll try to do it in the time that we have left. First of all, Chase Elliott getting the win, and Chase came in and had to win to get in. And here's the obstacle that nearly tripped Chase was that one of his crew members, over-the-wall crew members, left early on a pit stop. In other words, jumped over the wall too soon. And then, which would have been a penalty that would have necessitated Chase coming in to do a stop and go, would have probably killed his chances to win. However, the crew member was smart enough to know that if he gets back and resets himself and comes off the wall again, well, then there's no penalty as long as he doesn't touch the car. And so that's the rule. And he was able to reset himself, so it avoided a very costly penalty. And Chase, who had the fastest car all day, ends up winning. Ryan Blaney, a strong second place. Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, and Kurt Busch rounding out the top 5. And then Bowman, Almirola, Boyer, Kyle Busch, and De Benedetto. I got to tell you, the big story here, though, is Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick won 9 races this year. You would have thought that there is no way that Kevin Harvick misses going to the championship 4. Well, that's what you get for thinking. Here's what happened. Kevin Harvick got a flat tire early, got 2 laps down, got way behind. The car wasn't all that fast until after the halfway point. He struggled to get it back up to a strong finish, missed the cut by, I think it was 2 points. It was insanity. So the winningest driver on this year in Cup does not make it to the Final Four. Now, again, people, a lot of talk on social media about that, but, the fact of the matter is the system didn't let him down. The flat tire and not having a fast enough car let him down. He had 3 races in this round to accumulate just a few more points that would have put him over the top. Didn't do it. Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, Brad Keselowski, and Denny Hamlin go to the Final Four and compete for a championship. You've got a pair of Penske cars, so you got 2 Fords, Chase Elliott, Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports, and Denny Hamlin for Joe Gibbs Racing in Toyota. So you got 2 Fords, a Chevy, and a Toyota in the Final Four. And I'm going to tell you that if you want to see some aggressive racing at Phoenix, you're going to see it from these 4. We all know what Joey Logano is willing to do to win a title. We've seen that before. Brad Keselowski, no less willing to do what he has to do. Neither is Denny Hamlin, and neither is Chase Elliott. And we've had issues between Hamlin and Elliott in the past. We've had issues between Logano and Hamlin, Logano and Elliott. And, even Keselowski has gotten in the middle of this mix a few times. So just going to tell you, keep your eye out tomorrow. Don't miss this Final Four. It is going to be a fantastic race. And that's going to close things up already for another edition of the Inside Pass. Again, I want to thank all of our sponsors and all of the folks at WSIC for being such great supporters of our Race Chaser Radio programming. So until next week, for Randy Miller, who normally hosts the show and who will be back next week, I'm Tom Baker. Thanks for listening. Enjoy Lenny Baticki's PRN's At the Track. It is coming up next here on the WSIC family of radio stations and WSIC FM. So long.